So big news, guys, in a UFC middleweight division. Former two-time champion, the Stylebender himself, Israel Adesanya, is finally back in the octagon, and he's facing rising contender Joe Pyfer on March 28th, guys, in Seattle, Washington. This fight isn't just another match. It could honestly redefine both of these guys' careers, and both of these guys need it, all right? So we'll get into it, guys. Welcome back. Welcome to Duality 7X. I'm your host, Shiraz. And today we're going to break down everything you need to know about this epic showdown, what's at stake, how both of these fighters match up, and why this could be one of the most talked about middleweight fights in recent UFC history. So Israel Adesanya's comeback is absolutely incredible, guys. Look, he's coming in at 36 years old. All right, so already people are talking about his age and if that has anything to do with how and what might potentially happen in this fight. Don't get fooled, guys. Don't get surprised. I mean, look at Alex Pereira at 38 years old. Look at Neil Magny, almost 40 years old. And these guys are still at the top of their class, right? And Adesanya has a UFC record of 24-5. He's currently ranked number 6 in the division, right? Yes, he's coming off a 3-fight losing streak. That sucks. That sucks for any fighter. And he's had losses to guys like Sean Strickland, Dricus Du Plessis, Nasiruddin Imamov. But that said, guys, all of these guys that I just mentioned, they're big dudes. All right, big dudes, strong, very capable fighters, and all very, very at the top, like top echelon, top elite fighters. So yeah, he had, back-to-back losses against these guys, but these guys weren't, pushovers. All right, these guys were the top of their class. And, despite the losses, obviously, he remains probably one of the most dangerous strikers in UFC history. Right, he's tied for the most knockdowns in middleweight history, and very, very capable, folks, of his deadly sudden finishes. All right, so look, when it comes to mindset, this guy has it all. Adesanya has expressed that he's fighting more freely now. There was a lot of noise around him. He's kind of freed himself from that, and with now, I mean, without only just chasing titles. Right now, I think the most important thing for Adesanya is he wants to prove to his fans, he wants to prove to the MMA community, he wants to prove to the sporting world that he is still a reckon to deal with in the UFC, and he has a place in the UFC. So for Adesanya, this isn't just a fight. This is more about legacy, momentum, and snapping a streak that's been kind of haunting him for over a year. So pull this up here. So yeah, here is Israel Adesanya, 24-5-0 record. 36 years old, guys. But he's 6'4". And look at that reach, 80 inches. Yikes. You don't want to be at the end of that. All right. 67% of his wins came by either KO or TKO, and 20% of his losses happened via submission. 33% of his wins came by decision. And so we know that his upcoming bout against Joe Pyfer, that's happening in March. So yeah, so here's the tail of the tape. So there's those 3 matches that I was talking about. His loss against Nasiruddin Imamov, that happened via TKO, guys. It was a beautiful overhand right that caught Adesanya, and then it was just all ground and pound finishes from there, guys. And that it was stopped 30 seconds into round number 2, and it was over. It was pretty quick. That happened back in February of 2025, and then this is the fight, guys. Here against DDP, that happened. He lost. So Adesanya lost that fight against DDP via rear naked choke. He lost via submission. That was a UFC fight night. That was UFC 305. And guys, like that rear naked choke. I mean, that happened in round number 4. So during that fight, Du Plessis was applying a lot of pressure on Adesanya. I remember this. He backed Adesanya at one point to the cage, and he was just kind of forcing clinches. The takedowns, I think in that fight really changed the fight. It really disrupted Adesanya's strategy, whatever game plan, rhythm he had going into the fight. It really slowed down his movement. And then, on the ground, honestly, that was it. Du Plessis kind of took over, using his strength, top control, to eventually swinging the momentum in his favor. And then round number 4, that's it. Du Plessis just kind of secured another takedown. And I mean, he finished Adesanya via rear naked choke, right? I mean, sealing the biggest win of his career. That victory actually put DDP, as the new face of the UFC middleweight division. He became the UFC middleweight champion, and he essentially ended Adesanya's title reign at that point. And I still remember that, guys. And then he, prior to that, on September 9th of 2023, he lost against Sean Strickland, and that was via unanimous decision. And again, that was a major upset. Strickland dominated, guys, with a lot of pressure, relentless pressure on Adesanya. His boxing was incredible as well too. It looked like he kind of overpowered Adesanya there quite a few times. But Strickland kind of came out there. Adesanya was the favorite, right? And again, prior to this fight, Adesanya was coming off a TKO win over Alex Pereira, and that was in UFC 287. And he beat Pereira in round number 2 at the 4-minute 21-second mark. And that was because of a beautiful counter right that he landed against Alex Pereira. So now imagine losing to Alex Pereira, right? Back in 2022, coming back to avenge his loss and beating Alex Pereira almost, like 6 months later in 2023. And then walking into the Sean Strickland fight, he was untouchable. Absolutely untouchable. He was odds-on favorite to beat Sean Strickland. But Sean shook up the UFC world. He shocked everybody. He dropped Adesanya, and then immediately set the tone, guys. And then just all that relentless pressure that I was talking about. Keeping control of the jab, keeping Adesanya away with his jab, and just Adesanya was on his back foot the whole night. He wasn't even able to counter, even able to kind of launch any kind of an offensive momentum against Sean Strickland, because he cut off all those angles. Adesanya, that match, he struggled. He struggled immensely to try to find any kind of rhythm. He was unable to establish any kind of range or counters that we're normally accustomed to seeing him do. And so then Strickland just dominated the exchanges, and he pretty much cruised his way right to a decision win. So that was incredible, guys. And then that beautiful iconic comeback against Alex Pereira to avenge his loss from the year prior, and reclaim the UFC middleweight belt at that time. That was incredible. So yeah, he was unstoppable when he went into that Sean Strickland fight. A couple other notables here. He lost against Jan Blachowicz. That was by a decision. But look at all these guys. He beat Robert Whittaker. He fought Whittaker twice, and he beat him twice. Yeah, Anderson Silva. Derek Brunson. He's, and then of course Alex Pereira. He lost Alex Pereira back in 2017. Lost him against it in 2022, but came back to win in 2023, and that was the sweetest win for Adesanya, because that's where he claimed, that's where he got the world title. And then, so I mean, in essence, he's. Adesanya is something else, man. He had such a remarkable career, but these 3 losses are starting to add up, and a lot of people are curious to see if there's anything left in Adesanya's gas tank. And then if you shift gears here a little bit to Joe Pyfer, this man's a rising contender. Joe Pyfer, he's absolutely incredible, guys. Like his background. I mean, he's a 29-year-old. He's got the age on his side. He came out of the Dana White's Contender series, alumni. He's right now. Look, he's got a 15-3 professional record. 186 pounds. Yeah, 29 years old. He's 6'2", so Adesanya's got, a 2-inch kind of a reach advantage over him. 60% of his wins came by way of TKO, and 27% of his wins came by submission, 13 by decision. And yeah, this guy's on a 3-fight winning streak. Actually 4-fight winning streak. If you count Marc-Andre Barriault. And then, his knockout of Marc-Andre, actually, that was beautiful, just beautiful. And then, it was an overhand right, and it happened in the first round, like 1 minute and 25 seconds into the first round. That was a beautiful TKO, guys. He won by decision against Nicholas Wiley. He had there was a bout that he was supposed to take on Calvin Gastelum, but unfortunately that got canceled. And then he fought 2 times in 2025, fought 3 times in 2024. So Joe Pyfer is one of those guys who is an active fighter. He's not that 1 year a fight kind of guy. He also won by submission against Abbas Magomedov. Beautiful victory, guys. He won by rear naked choke. That was in round number 2, 1 minute 46 seconds, UFC 320. That was a great win for Joe Pyfer. I honestly thought Abbas was probably going to have that fight in his favor, but no, yeah, he ended up getting it. Beautiful, beautiful fight. And so, when I think about his recent wins and I think about, I think about Joe Pyfer, he's definitely a power puncher. He's got a very high finishing rate, which makes him very unique. He's got those heavy hands, which makes him very tough to contend against, and that relentless pressure. He's a guy who just doesn't let you breathe. He doesn't even give you a chance to regroup. He comes at you right off the gates, out of the gates. He comes out strong. And it's just go, 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 go. So if you don't have something to be able to counter that, then you're in big trouble, right? And so he himself said that it was an honor to face the best middleweight of all time, viewing this as his breakout fight. And I'm talking about his opportunity to take on Israel Adesanya. So he's really super excited to have this fight. He was actually recently on the Ariel Helwani show, and I think it was Ariel who was asking him about how people are saying a lot of people are hating on Israel Adesanya because of his 3 fight losses, and that Joe Pyfer actually is odds-on favorite to win this fight. And Joe, being humble as he is, he's such a genuine guy. He's like, you know what, don't get it wrong, guys. A lot of people just don't. He feels that people are sleeping on Adesanya, and he's like, people are not giving this man credit where credit is due. And he's like, don't be fooled or don't be surprised, because Adesanya is the kind of guy who can just explode at any minute, and he's very, very dangerous. So that tells you a little bit about, his humbleness, and yeah, he's definitely a stand-up guy, right? I mean, for Pyfer, honestly, this fight is more than just another matchup. It's a career-defining opportunity to prove that he truly does belong amongst the elite, right? And I mean, like, he's also known as the body bags, right? Joe Pyfer, and when I think about his recent fights, that the fight that he had back in 2024 against Jack Hermanson on UFC Fight Night, he lost via decision. It was a unanimous decision. That was his first UFC loss, actually, and the thing is, Hermanson, if that fight, he kind of controlled the range early. It seems like his strategy was working slightly better than Pyfer's, right? He used a lot of movement against Pyfer. He kind of kept the pressure on Pyfer and then just kind of raised the volume a little bit higher each and every time when needed. and that did enough to keep Pyfer at bay. And honestly, Joe just didn't have. I mean, it was close. It could have gone either way, but at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, like the wrestling, the clinch work, by Hermanson, kind of sealed the deal. Preventing Pyfer from really utilizing his power and to be able to settle in. Pyfer actually kind of struggled in the get-go, right? He had some issues with being able to land some clean shots, unfortunately, on Jack Hermanson. Jack Hermanson just did a beautiful job in keeping him at bay and, just really controlling his angles, controlling the narrative, controlling the fight. That was a great UFC MMA clinic. If you want to see really good UFC, that was a good fight. But that was Pyfer's first loss. Aside from that, look at his record. A lot of it's in green, so he's very, very consistent all the way through. Right? He's done very, very well for himself. That fight against Abdul Razak, back in 2023. When I talk about Pyfer having those heavy hands, he's got raw knockout power, guys, right? I mean, in that fight, Pyfer actually stayed patient very early. He came in there. He avoided the initial rush again from Abdul Razak, but he had a beautiful exchange, and then he landed some heavy shots, but then he was able to get the arm triangle choke on him in round number 2 at 2 minutes and 5 seconds into it, to get the submission win over him. But his power, Pyfer's power, I think a lot of people don't give this man enough credit, and so that was absolutely incredible. And then of course, when he took on Master Shard, he fought him twice. He overwhelmed the veteran with his with his pressure, his heavy shots. He won that one via decision as well too. It was a unanimous decision, but I mean, he came out there with some early knockdowns, and he just overwhelmed them right from the beginning. And again, the thing that I really like about Joe's game is that relentless pressure that he adds. There's no room for recovery. There's no room. Once he puts that pressure on you, it's really hard to counter. It's really hard to kind of mass up any kind of a momentum or any kind of an offense against him. Because once he starts controlling the narrative, that's it. It's pretty much game, set, match. So that match that he had against Chase Gamble, I remember that back in 2020, he won via TKO, round number 2. That was pretty impressive as well too. Yeah, I'm just looking at seeing if anyone else jumps out, but yeah, it was absolutely incredible, guys. He's done quite well for himself, and of course, yeah, Seattle, Washington at the Climate Pledge Arena. This is going to be where it's all going down. It's going to be a great card. Adesanya, Pyfer, these guys had the main event, and then we have Alexa Grasso taking on Macy Barber. That's also on the main card. Casey O'Neill versus Gabriela Fernandez, and then Marcin Tybura. Oh, Tybura. This is going to be a great fight, guys. Heavyweight tilt against Walter Walker. I've been meaning to see, I'm really excited to see Walter, actually. He's got an impressive record. He's only 15-1. This is going to be a match definitely I do not want to miss. Mansour Abdelmalik is on that card too. That's going to be for the UFC middleweight. That's a UFC middleweight bout. Kenji Zhu versus Marcia Barbosa. That's going to be very good. Interesting to see Marcio again. He's got a 17-2 record. Nicole Calari versus Carol Faro, both Brazilian. Both have really good records. This is a flyweight bout, but Carol, she's 9-1. Very, very impressive. So we've got a very good card. 72% of the folks think that Adesanya is going to win. 28% of people are choosing Pyfer. Very interesting. So, yeah. So we're going to have to cover more of this, guys. It's going to be absolutely incredible. It's going to be on Paramount Plus. And so, yeah, the Climate Pledge Arena at Seattle, Washington on March 28, 2026. UFC Fight Night featuring the main event, Israel Adesanya versus Joe Pyfer for the middleweight bout, guys. I can't wait to watch this one. So, yeah, I wanna thank you guys for sticking around and for my analysis. And I'm going to cover these guys a little bit more. There's definitely some more things that are coming out about these guys. I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, like if when I think about Adesanya and I think about his keys to victory, he's got to keep that distance between himself and Joe. All right, he's got to keep Pyfer at range, and with movement, jabs, leg kicks, all that kind of stuff. That's what he's got to do, and he's got to avoid letting Pyfer, like he's got to prevent Pyfer from getting up against the cage. This is where Pyfer's pressure is the strongest. So if he can stay away from the cage, I think Adesanya's got a good chance. He's going to have to do some serious counter striking because Pyfer is just one of those guys. He can exchange with the best of them. Right, so it's going to be boxing versus boxing. I can't wait to see this. But I mean, the timing is critical. Right, Adesanya is a very quick puncher, very quick striker. So he's going to have to launch those, and he's got to have a whole bunch in his arsenal. So he's got to exert a lot of some really good pace. He's got to have patience. He's got to time out his punches, his strikes, and his ground defense has got to be 100% on par. If Adesanya doesn't create space, he doesn't if he doesn't create space between himself and Joe, then Joe's going to actually close that distance and it could be game over and it could happen very, very early. For Joe, honestly, closing the distance is very, very important for him to secure this victory. I know he's going to come out with relentless pressure. He's got that forward pressure. I know he's going to come right out of the gates with that. And he's going to start striking Adesanya. And he's going to try to, again, not only close the distance, but also find a way to keep Adesanya's strikes at bay. He's going to mix a striking with wrestling. I think that's one of his keys. I think some of the things that made Joe very successful in his previous fights. And you know what? He's going to do everything he can to disrupt Adesanya's rhythm. That's the gameplay. If you disrupt Adesanya's rhythm, you got a good chance of beating him early, right? And not necessarily relying wholeheartedly on your knockout shots, but he's gotta be very strategic in this. Yeah, this is going to be a very big mental game. But as long as he limits Adesanya's mobility, that's essentially the key to reducing his countering ability. And then basically he can finish that fight super, super early, right? The power that Joe has is what really sets him apart from a lot of other fighters, not only in the division but in the sport. In the UFC and the world of MMA. This guy is very, very special. He's absolutely incredible, guys. And his power alone makes him super, super dangerous, especially in early exchanges and capitalizing on some of that quick swing momentum. He's gonna go for it right then and there. He's gonna do everything he can to just take out Adesanya as quick as he can, neutralize him, and just have his way with him, right? So as long as he can use that pressure, that forward pressure that he's been so good at, that he's been able to showcase in his last few fights, and try to potentially force Adesanya towards the cage and take him out of his comfort zone, starts winning some rounds, I think he might have a good shot of winning this bout. Excuse me. Adesanya's edge, speed, his precision, his ability to counter strike very quickly. That's some of the things that go for him. Pyfer's also got the wrestling, the raw knockout power, that forward pressure. It's gonna be a great match. So I want to thank you guys for sticking around. Those are my thoughts. That's just my kind of my overall deep dive into this fight. I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments. Tell me if you guys agree with me, or if you're looking at it from a different angle, perhaps maybe a different perspective. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you guys for sticking around. Don't forget to please smash the like and subscribe, and join us here for more real fight talk, guys. I look forward to catching you guys on the next one.